Some people collapse into bed after a long day of hustling. Others somehow feel wiped out after doing absolutely nothing. And that second kind, the exhaustion that comes from pure stillness, is the one almost nobody admits. Let me confess something mildly humiliating. There was a period in my life when I could not sit still for more than 5 minutes without feeling like the universe was silently judging me. I'd be on vacation, like actual vacation, and my brain would whisper, "Shouldn't you be learning something? Reading something? Building something? Improving in some way?" I was genuinely exhausted from trying to relax. If you've ever felt that bizarre guilt for simply existing without ticking boxes, this part is for you. Come closer. Let's untangle it. First question, why does this weird guilt hit so many of us? Spoiler, it's not a sign that you're flawed or secretly lazy. In fact, your guilt is often a sign that you care too much, not too little. The truth is, that feeling is leftover survival software. Imagine our ancestors chilling by the fire. If one person sat around all day while everyone else hunted, the group could literally be in danger. So the brain evolved a warning signal. Idleness equals threat. It kept the tribe alive. But now, no lions are showing up if you watch the sunset for 10 minutes. Yet that ancient alarm bell still blares like an overactive smoke detector. And then, modern life cranks that alarm up even louder. Everywhere you look, someone is preaching hustle culture. Social feeds scream at you to optimize yourself, level up, grind harder. Podcasts, ads, mentors, influencers, everyone's selling the idea that your worth equals your productivity. Even your smartwatch nags you to keep moving like some tiny wrist general. We've created a world where rest is treated as a privilege instead of a biological necessity. So when you finally pause, your brain doesn't think, "Oh good, recharging." It thinks, "Alert, you're falling behind, you should be doing something." That feeling? It's not guilt, it's fear pretending to be morality. You're not feeling bad because you're doing something wrong. You're feeling bad because you were trained to believe rest must be earned through exhaustion. I remember lying on a beautiful shoreline once, the sky on fire with color, waves breathing against the coast, and instead of soaking it in, I was making an invisible list of all the better uses of my time. I felt like relaxing was sinful, totally backwards. Here's what I wish someone had whispered to me. Your value has nothing to do with how busy you are. You're allowed to exist without producing anything. And ironically, those moments of doing nothing are the exact times when your brain starts repairing itself, stitching ideas together, healing burnout, and forming creative leaps. Science backs this. When your mind drifts, it activates something called the default mode network, basically the backstage workshop of the brain, where creativity, problem-solving, and deep insights form. Einstein famously said his best ideas came while drifting in a boat or staring out a window, not while grinding through equations. But we live in a world that worships constant motion. If you're not sprinting, you're falling behind. Let me add some global spice here. In Italy, there's dolce far niente, the sweetness of doing nothing. People sit in plazas for hours, sipping espresso, watching life slide by. No guilt. In Japan, they have shinrin-yoku, forest bathing, which involves wandering slowly through trees with no goal. Doctors prescribe it. Meanwhile, many other places treat rest like a crime. Same species, different rulebooks. So if you feel guilty for resting, remember, that guilt isn't truth, it's programming, biological and cultural. And the good news is, you can rewrite it. But before we jump into the how, let me take you to the moment everything snapped for me, my personal bottom. A few years ago, from the outside, I looked like someone who had everything figured out. Good career, organized calendar, ambitious goals. Inside, I was a candle burning from both ends and the middle. I woke up at 5 a.m. to meditate with a stopwatch because relaxation had to be efficient. Then rushed to the gym, answered messages on the train, stacked meetings all day, and squeezed a side hustle into the evening like it was homework due at midnight. Weekends weren't rest. They were self-improvement marathons, podcasts on double speed, webinars, networking brunches, courses, every second optimized. And vacations? I'd pack a laptop and call it a workcation. I once flew to Bali, paradise, stayed in a gorgeous villa with a jungle view. Day 1, sunshine, pool shimmering, birds chirping, and I opened my laptop immediately. By day 3, I was deep in work mode, hardly noticing the view. My girlfriend at the time said, "Why did we fly halfway across the world just so you could recreate your office beside a pool?" And I genuinely had no explanation except habit. Then came the crash. Burnout isn't gentle. It doesn't tap you on the shoulder. It slams you into a wall. My body quit without asking permission. I couldn't leave bed. My mind felt like fog soup. Even scrolling on my phone felt exhausting. And the most messed up part? I felt guilty for being sick, guilty for not answering emails, guilty for needing rest. Lying there in the dark, I realized my entire life had become a performance of productivity. My body staged an intervention because my mind refused to. That low point became my turning point. I started questioning everything. Why does stillness feel like failure? Who taught me that rest must be earned through exhaustion? What would life look like if I stopped treating downtime like a reward and started treating it like fuel? So I pared everything back. I started with 10 minutes a day of pure nothing. No phone, no goals, just existing. At first, it felt ridiculous. Then something shifted. Ideas came unforced. My sleep improved. I laughed more. Food tasted better. Work felt lighter. My creativity returned. One morning in Lisbon, I sat in a cafe watching people pass by for nearly an hour. No guilt, no twitchiness, just peace. I almost messaged a friend, "Bro, I just did nothing for 60 minutes and the world didn't implode." And here's the kicker. My productivity skyrocketed. I got more done in less time because my brain wasn't fried. If I can go from being exhausted while relaxing to actually enjoying stillness, trust me, you can too. Now let's peek inside the brain. Your brain is like a high-performance engine. It needs gas, yes, but also cool-down periods. When you're always pushing, the sympathetic nervous system kicks in, fight or flight mode, heart racing, cortisol flowing, focus narrow. Useful in danger, terrible for long-term life. When you slow down, your parasympathetic system activates, rest and digest mode. Muscles loosen, thoughts drift, body heals. Creativity wakes up. It's the mental version of shifting from a sprint to a gentle stroll. The problem is, society worships the sprint. We respect people who overwork. We assume busy equals important. That's productivity bias. Studies show people rate busy individuals as more competent, even if that busyness is performative. Then there's social comparison, the highlight reel effect. Someone posts about their 5th business, someone else posts about their 4 a.m. miracle routine, and suddenly your quiet Tuesday evening feels shameful. But nobody posts their nap times or Netflix marathons. And then, next villain, dopamine. Productivity gives quick, shallow rewards. Ding, email checked. Buzz, task done. Doing nothing gives no instant high, so your brain craves the hits and panics when they're missing. But too many hits equals burnout. And then, upbringing. Many of us grew up hearing phrases like, "Don't waste time, get up and be productive, hard work is everything." Slowly, this becomes internal law. But what's fascinating is how culture shifts these beliefs. Spain has siestas. Greece has slow evenings by the sea. Sweden has fika, mandatory coffee breaks. Meanwhile, some other places treat rest like a crime. Same species, different rulebooks. And here's the clincher. The WHO recognizes burnout as a real occupational phenomenon. It's widespread because we treat rest like an afterthought. Flow, the highly productive magical state, requires breaks. Without rest, the brain never enters it. Psychologists say guilt is often fear in disguise, fear of not being enough, fear of falling behind, fear that if you stop, the whole machine collapses. But fear can be rewired. Before we talk tools, let's take inspiration from someone legendary who figured this out long before we did. People imagine him working non-stop, scribbling equations in frantic genius mode. But the truth, he loved long walks, quiet sailing, violin sessions, staring into space, literal hours of nothingness. And he confessed that sometimes he felt guilty about that nothingness. Society expected scholars to grind relentlessly, but Einstein discovered that forcing constant productivity killed his brilliance. His major breakthroughs came during downtime. His thought experiment about riding a beam of light happened while he was daydreaming, not grinding at a desk. He famously protected his quiet time fiercely, took slow hikes in the Alps, sat by lakes doing nothing useful, and those lazy moments contributed to his greatest theories, the ones our modern world still runs on. If one of the greatest minds in history embraced stillness, maybe we should too. Here's the easiest entry point. Takes 5 minutes max. Pick a daily trigger. Waiting for your tea to steep, sitting on a bus, standing in line, brushing your teeth, waiting for a page to load. And then do absolutely